Hey, peace, world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like the way that any of the information is being broken down or discussed, hit the like button or leave a comment. I'll try to throw some of this stuff out there to possibly introduce different people to things that might not be receiving enough light. Or to introduce other things to cats that look like me. And this is one of those things. You saw the title of the video. This is just a salute, to this whole Two Distant Strangers short film winning this Oscar. I'm not a huge awards person, but I think it's foolish, when people try to ignore or disregard, winning these mainstream awards like an Oscar, a Tony, a Grammy, American Music Awards. Any artist or performer who has a chance to win any of this stuff, you always want, because that's what you came into the world knowing. It signified that it signified greatness. From 5 to 8 years old, you see Magic. You see Michael Jackson on doing the moonwalk on the Grammys or whatever, and you think there's nothing that's the equivalent to a Grammy. So shout out to this group who did it. So a couple of things here that I wanted to talk about very quickly. It was written and directed by Martin Desmond Rowe and Trayvon Free. I believe Trayvon Free was recently on Black on the Air with Larry Whitmore or Wilmore. I always forget his last name. But he has a podcast. It's a Ringer podcast. I think it's Wilmore. You can check it out to get some background on this story, or on the creation of this project. I think it's like 30 minutes, 35 minutes in runtime and whatnot. It's on Netflix right now. I just watched it last week. So shout out to him. Apparently, Trayvon Free was a former collegiate basketball player at Long Beach State. I'm giving you all of this because a lot of us are trying to do a lot of different things in life, or people will try to do a lot of different things in life. And, social media, technology, you have different roads to doing these different things now. So take advantage of it. Another interesting thing here in the world of sports is the NBA's Kevin Durant and Michael Conley were executive producers on this project. Now, LeBron James this comes down to my thought that maybe what's really impactful when you want to speak out, or you want to have your say, you want to get involved, speak up. LeBron James is debatable what his role is. He's a puppet. He's a parrot. He took some flack last week. I just talked about this on the latest It's Always Personal. Candace Owens is back on his neck. Her foot is back on his neck with this whole situation with the young female who was killed by a police officer down in Columbus, Ohio. So you can go out here and do things the straightforward way, and you can have Clay Travis and all the writers at Outkick.com and the Candace Owens at your neck, kind of spinning things around, arguing the opposing view, and the majority of folks, going along with the opposing views and what they're presenting. Or, like I said, in this situation, you could be behind the scenes, investing in others to go get certain messaging out there. You can also go that route. Obviously, LeBron might have, for lack of a better word, LeBron might have fuck you money. Like, I'm big enough to do what I want to do, whether I'm right with it, whether I'm wrong with it. I am situated right now to do it how I want to do it, and maybe that's his justification. I'm saying do what you want to do. Just look at the alternatives of how to go about doing it. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Some might be more effective than the other. But this Two Distant Stranger, the next point I want to talk about was shout out to Joey Badass. I'm watching the short film and I'm like, bro, it looks familiar, but is that Joey? Joey. And yeah, then I hit Google real quick, and it's Joey Badass is the plays the main character. I've said this before also, but he pulled it off, man. Very natural. Looked like I mean his portrayal of a New York brother was so spot on because he's a young New York brother. But it was so far away from him as a rapper, and the clothing that they had him in, his interests, the stuff that he was doing on his phone. He had this app that fed his dog, remotely and whatnot. Some of the different things you listen to in the dialogue showed him as like this hip young brother doing his thing in New York City. But I've mentioned this before also. A lot of people, you unfortunately in urban films, urban entertainment, black films, black movies, a lot of times I've said this on It's Always Personal and other Pay Me No Mind videos. Unfortunately, black America and black creatives aren't always able to delve into science fiction and trying to create new superheroes or comic book franchises and whatnot. A lot of time is spent with the period movies and the slavery movies and the civil rights activists, and then we get to the holidays, the weddings, the funerals, the comedies, the girl comedies, the ensemble comedies. But it's all in these very familiar boxes, that it's always in, and then we got to spend a lot of time talking about issues like this with police brutality. So they put this spin on this. Puffy was also a producer on here, executive producer for Durant and Conley. But this is about, like, I heard the Trayvon Free Cat on the podcast with Larry Wilmore, and it was like this is like a spin or a variation on Groundhog Day from back in the day with Bill Murray. And so I thought it was pretty interesting. But again, with it being about police brutality and all of that, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can see this shit on the news. Like, I got to give 30 minutes to watching it to when I want to watch a movie. So anyway, I checked it out based on the Oscar buzz around it and whatnot, and listening to that podcast. And like I said, the synopsis of it is this brother is leaving this one night stand. Had a great night with this young female, and they maybe they'll do it again or explore a relationship. But as he goes to go home, walks out of her building to get on a train, Uber, or whatever to make his way home, he keeps encountering this police officer who kills him. He shoots him, he chokes him, him and a bunch of other cops beat him. They throw him off a roof or something, or he runs out in traffic and gets just all these different ways. And every time he dies, he wakes back up in the bed with the young female. And, it becomes a situation where he's trying to figure out, how can I get home? How can I get to my dog and continue on with my life? So at the end of it, he finally walks outside and just confronts the police officer, whose name is Merc, actually. You know what Merc means. But he just goes over to confront the guy and says, I don't know if you know what's happening, man, but you're killing me every time in this dream that I'm having and waking up from. You're killing me. So how about we talk this out? We figured some way out to where me and you can interact with one another, and it ends without me dying. And I'm not even gonna give you the the spoiler or anything. It takes 30 minutes to watch it, but some of the different ways. One thing I'll get off of here. One thing that really just really kind of moved me based on current timing was, of course, the first time that he dies, either the first or the second, is shooting and then choking, and I can't breathe. And just because of the recent, I mean, I'm watching this around the time of the trial with Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis, and the officer is choking Joey Badass's character, and I was just thinking to myself, like, it's like survival instinct or whatever. Like, if someone was choking you, would you stop? Would you just stop fighting and just in hopes that that person thinks that you're no longer resisting and that they would stop? But then if you do that and that person doesn't stop, by the time you think to start fighting again, you're running out of air. You're running out of any chance of trying to save your own life. So that's just such a real moving moment, for someone to find themselves in that situation. And once it's escalated to that point, how does it even get de-escalated? Once someone has started to choke you, and in listening to the defense, the public defense, and looking at different forums and whatnot, and people defending Chauvin and just some of the different comments, I don't know, I guess that's why we gotta get a short film like this about this subject to try to show it to people in a different way, to how our feelings and our perspective on this, like why it should be more important to others. So anyway, check the movie out, Two Distant Strangers. Like I said, it's out there on Netflix. I was just surprised to see who was behind it, who was in front of the camera, who was behind the camera. Check out that Larry Wilmore podcast with the writer director on there, and learn something that you may not have thought about. Again, pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.